So, we're in a global pandemic, and we're going to have to make some adjustments to how we do things. So, this video is going to talk about how we're going to make some of those adjustments for Psych 105 for the rest of the semester. Because you're probably thinking, I didn't sign up to take an online statistics class, and I didn't sign up to teach one this semester, but we're all adjusting. Okay, so I'd like us to keep in mind our objective, which is for you to learn the concepts and skills that you need to succeed in your future classes, in your future careers, in your life as information consumers in general. Of course, we have some major challenges right now, um, notably communication and resources. So, not everyone has access to the same resources outside of campus, unfortunately. So, I'm trying to be as flexible as possible with due dates and grades while still aiming for us to meet this objective together. What this means is that nobody is going to be required to attend live sessions or live classes, but I do encourage you to set up virtual sessions to work together when possible. I think that's good um, for those of you who are able to connect and able to work together. And I'll try to add some resources to hopefully help with this too. I will also be hosting live Q&A type sessions or drop-in help sessions that I plan to broadcast both on Canvas and Facebook. Now, those will be live so that you can drop in and ask questions, but they will also be recorded and then I'll post them. So if you can't make it during those live sessions, that's okay. Hopefully, if you have some similar questions to ones that are asked, then you'll benefit from those as well. So, what's the plan? The plan is that we continue on as we were going to this week, but next week. Okay. So be ready to continue on with classwork. I believe we left it off with classwork 9. Um, the schedule on Canvas has already been adjusted, so go ahead and go in, check out the schedule on Canvas. Everything has been shifted a little bit. There are going to be some adjustments, major adjustments done to how we conduct our classes because we can't physically meet together. But also some adjustments to guided notes, exercises, and tests. So I'll review those more towards the end of this video. And then I'm also going to shift the grading around a little bit. So I'll explain that as well. So after receiving feedback from several of you and doing some research and getting some feedback from colleagues, here's the plan that I've sort of come up with that I think will help us to hold class most effectively for the rest of semester. So we are, like I said, it's not going to be what's called synchronous. We are not all meeting up at the same time to do our classwork together. What I see happening is that I will post getting started videos for each of the classworks that are scheduled for that particular week. So if we were a Monday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday class, we would generally go through 2 classworks that week. So I'll post the getting started videos for both of those classes Monday morning so that you can get to them when you get to them. So those videos, the getting started videos, I'm really going to use to talk through any sections of the classwork that I would talk through in class. I'll use slides if I need to. I'll write things out. I may demo things using JASP. I may do kind of like a whiteboard style drawing and writing, similar to what I would do in class. So I'll post a video that really kind of walks you through the majority of the classwork in that way. If there are parts that I want you to work through or think through sort of on your own and jot down your thoughts for before we go through them together, I'll sort of explain what I mean or what I'm looking for, and then I'll kind of give you the space to do that reflection. The getting started video is really designed to get you started working through the entire classwork. It doesn't mean that you won't have any questions. You may still have questions, or there may be parts that you don't fully understand, but my hope is that the getting started video will be enough so that you don't feel completely stuck and you give up, but that you can keep going and you can get through most of it. And then we can come back and address any questions that you have. So definitely make sure you're keeping note of those questions. Then, after the getting started video that will walk you through the classwork in your workbook, then I will typically have some sort of optional extra practice, um, something that you can submit. And this will be completely optional. It's worth 0 points. You will not get any points for submitting it. You will not lose any points if you don't submit it. The whole point of this extra practice is just that, to get some extra practice with the material and to potentially get some feedback from me on how your work is looking. This may take the form of typing up an APA style results section for an analysis, or it may be having the chance to discuss questions from the classwork with your classmates on a discussion board. So it may look a little different from week to week, but this is really for you to have a chance to do a little extra hands on, make sure that you're getting it, and then submit it if you need some, if you would like that extra feedback from me. I have put due dates on each of these things, but these are all suggested due dates for your benefit. At this point, I won't be deducting points for late submissions, but you keep in mind that if you are submitting later, then you likely won't get as detailed feedback or as timely feedback as you would like. So keep that in mind. The due dates are really to sort of keep us on pace as much as possible. But they are suggestions, so don't feel that if you are turning something in late that you're going to lose any credit for it. You won't. Okay, so the Getting Started video will walk you through the classwork in your workbook. The optional extra practice is for optional extra practice, worth no points. What is going to count for points, what is your classwork credit for the rest of the semester, is going to be this classwork question submission. So what I want you to do, and I'll try to make this as clear as possible on Canvas. Once I have it all set up, I may do a little walkthrough video. Um, what I want you to do is, once you've gone through the Getting Started video and you've potentially done the extra practice, I want you to let me know what questions you have or what things you would like to see reviewed in a second video. What are you having trouble grasping? What are you stuck on? If you don't have any questions or you don't need anything reviewed, just say no questions, and that will count as you having completed your classwork as long as you submit something, right? Whether it's your questions, oh, I'd like you to review this, or I didn't quite get what you meant when this, on this problem, or I couldn't get past this. Can you do this again? Or I got through it, no problems, right? As long as you're submitting something to me to let me know that you had the chance to work through it and letting me know what you need back. That dialogue, that's really what I'm looking for here. And so that's what I'm going to count as classwork, because that's basically the same as you showing up to class, me being there, we working through the classwork, and then me saying, oh, you were here, you get the credit for the classwork. So same idea. You're just going to have to type me a little response to say, hey, teacher, I did it. Here's my questions, or I don't have any questions. Okay. I would encourage you, if possible, to try to submit these by noon on Thursday. I will probably set that as the suggested due date, but again, I'm very flexible with those due dates at this point. But in order for me to sort of make a follow-up video that I can post at the end of the week, my plan is to post it either late on Thursday or on Fridays, so that we can sort of wrap up the classwork from that week, address any questions that people had. And so if you submit those questions sooner rather than later, that makes it more likely that I'll get to your question in the video. So that's the final thing, the Let's Review videos. I'll post these Let's Review videos kind of towards the end of the week that will potentially go back through any questions from the classwork that were left open for discussion, or questions that came out of the guided notes that were pretty common questions, or things that people said that they could use further clarification on. So again, just in terms of classwork, your credit is going to be coming from you submitting for each classwork any questions that you had or anything that you want to see reviewed again. Okay, that's where all of the credit is. Everything else is optional extra practice. Not extra credit because it's worth 0 points, just extra practice for learning and feedback. Okay. Now, I'm going to be making some adjustments on some other things since you won't be in class to show me your guided notes, and it is such a hassle to document that you completed them in some way. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm asking you complete your guided notes as you were doing in your workbooks, but there's no need to upload any sort of proof of completion. All I want you to do in order to get credit for completing your guided notes from here on out is, again, you're going to type a response letting me know any questions that you have from that set of guided notes or anything you need more clarification on. If you don't have anything, then you just write no questions, I'm all good, something. Due dates, again, are all suggested through the date of, or all suggested through basically the end of the term. So there won't be any penalties for those late guided notes. But again, I encourage you try to keep up with those suggested due dates in terms of pacing so you're not feeling like you have to cram everything at the end. I will also be adding some discussion boards to our Canvas page. I'm going to start those discussion boards for a couple of various purposes. So keep an eye out. Feel free to engage in the conversation. Tests, I made a change to the schedule. Instead of 2 midterm tests, there's only 1 now. So I've just eliminated one of the tests. And that 10% that was associated with that test is now going towards guided notes. Okay. So there's 1 midterm for 10% and 1 final, which was and still is 20% of your grade. These will be online on Canvas. My plan is to put them up for a 72-hour window approximately, based on the dates on the schedule. I am not planning on timing them for various reasons, but what I envision happening in them is I provide you a JASP output of some sort and you have to write up the results, which is similar to what we would have done in class anyway. Just since I don't want to count on everyone having access to JASP and it working properly for everybody's situation, I will provide outputs and you will write up your results from those outputs. Okay. The exercises, originally there were going to be 4 worksheets. You just completed and turned in worksheet 1. I will grade worksheet 1 and put those grades in this next week. And so those are worth 5%, but I've decided to, instead of having worksheets 2, 3, and 4, I'm just going to get rid of those worksheets and reallocate those points towards classwork, since now classwork is more work than it originally was. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of weighting the grades more towards that classwork, rather than have kind of extra work for you to do. So the new grade breakdown looks like this. Classwork is worth 35% of your overall grade. Guided notes are worth 30%. Exercises, that one worksheet that you already turned in, is worth 5%. The midterm test, which will be coming up in a few weeks, I want to say early April, is worth 10%. And then the final exam at the end is worth 20%. So if you have any questions on this new grade breakdown, please let me know. Give me your feedback. Trying to make it achievable and accessible in this uncertain time. So what's next? Well, I'd like to block off a few hours a week in my schedule to dedicate to that consultation time, those live Q&A type sessions. I'd like to pick a time that works for as many people as possible. So I'd like you to please click the link below in the announcement on Canvas and fill out the form to let me know what times work for you. So that way I can go ahead and sort of schedule when we'll be available. Other than that, I just suggest reviewing, making sure you feel prepared to keep working forward in our workbooks next week. As of today, which is March 23rd, the library is open to registered students between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So if you have trouble accessing the internet or accessing a computer outside of campus, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are your days you want to head into the library. So please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will be talking to you all very soon. Have a good rest of your evening.